Your expectations and your perception of the rental market are completely unrealistic.
Less house prices bottom out and interest rates bottom out.
Would a landlord have to be a bit mad to have somewhere fully furnished?
Let's be honest, it's not just the landlords. Tenants that play the game as well.
Vast majority of landlords that I've dealt with over the years, a lot of them are accidental landlords.
If properties on the market are cheaper, they might even ask for rent reduction.
Yeah, demand just completely outstrips supply.
How far's that gone and what's some of the consequences of this bill?
How are they going to afford to keep the house? They're going to get repossessed. The house will get taken.
There's going to be a landlord database as well. So that will have...
There should be a landlord and tenant database.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would help.
So, let's be honest, it's not just the landlords. There are tenants that play the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And again, probably not helping the fact, and that hasn't helped with landlords leaving. You know, most landlords I know that I've dealt with over the years, if they've had a problematic tenant, fallen into rent arrears, caused damage to the property, the first thing they do when they get that property back is they sell it. They say, I've had enough, and I'm out. I'll put my money somewhere else. They very rarely wipe their mouth and move on and relet it. It just doesn't happen.
No, I mean, people always go through these fits and starts, don't we, with property? So you've got people that like say they suddenly sell it, go and reinvest in something else. But when that takes a bit of a tumble, a lot of people end up coming back to property because the longevity of property is good. It's not a short-term game. It's a 10, 15, 20-year game.
Well, it boomed, didn't it? I mean, the buy-to-let boom, you know, people were riding that wave for 10, 15, 20 years. And yeah, it's just become less and less appealing over the last 10 years or so to be a landlord. All the gains and the profits they were making have been completely eroded. But yeah, it may come back, but I think with the changes that are coming in, I think it's less likely we'll see a resurgence of that original buy-to-let.
Less house prices bottom out and interest rates bottom out then, but other than that...
Yeah.
You both kind of talked about how, look, there have been some bad landlords, there have been some properties which are frankly not really safe, there's mould, there's damp, there's some big issues. So as part of this, the government have introduced a decent home standard.
Yeah.
What's some of the... I mean, that's obviously a good thing. That's not a bad thing, right? You know, tenants have a certain level of expectation to keep them safe, but how far's that gone and what's some of the consequences of that part of this bill?
I find that one good and bad. Because same again, tenants going to use this to try and get new stuff put in their property. That's my only concern. I do agree. I think standards on certain properties do need to be improved, 100%. But it's like George and I were discussing earlier, everybody wants hotel properties.
Yeah.
Standards have changed. I think even youngsters now on holiday, I think when I was 18, 19, a long time ago, it was just a room. Off in Spain, it was a room. If you've got aircon, great. But people now want big screen TV. They want flash. They want nice. And it's no different with student accommodations. Everybody wants plush. They don't want the old rubbishy hotels. They want nice hotels. The levels have changed.
Would a landlord have to be a bit mad to have somewhere fully furnished? Would it be much more preferable to just go unfurnished, make life a lot easier? Because otherwise we're just opening the door to like, oh, this has got a bit of mould, or that needs changing, that needs doing.
I think it's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it relates so much to furnished or unfurnished, but it will definitely relate to the structural integrity of the property, damp and mould issues and that sort of thing. And I think generally tenants now have much higher standards and expectations about what they'll put up with and what they'll accept. And the reality is that as a landlord now, if you haven't been maintaining the property and you haven't kept it up to date, and your kitchen's older than your tenant, you're probably going to have a bit of a problem. And I've seen lots of these properties recently where they've come back to the market, they've been rented out for a decade or more, gone through maybe 3 or 4 different sets of tenants, and they've kind of reached the end of their life cycle as a rental. In my opinion, that's the way that I see it. And what I say to landlords is you've got 2 choices at this stage. You either spend a bit of money and reinvest some capital and get it looking up to scratch, or you sell it. But you're not going to rent it again like this, not for any money. It will sit on the market 6 months. It won't let in that condition.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is it's having that money to do the work.
Exactly.
A lot of landlords live off the mortgage, rent. The difference is what they...
Yeah, is that fair? I've always wondered that. It's for a lot of landlords, is it kind of like month to month? in the sense that the money comes in, covers the mortgage. It's not like, oh, you know.
I would say the vast majority of landlords that I've dealt with over the years, they are a lot of them are accidental landlords. They've maybe got one or two properties that they rent, and they depend on that rental income to pay that mortgage. And if that rent doesn't come in, they're really tight. And they're the landlords that I think we've seen leave over the last couple of years, and the ones we'll probably see leave.
And that's the concern with no fault evictions and so forth. If suddenly someone's not going to pay, and going to be there for 8 months while it goes to court, minimum, because there'll be a huge backlog. How are they going to afford to keep the house? They're going to get repossessed. The house will get taken potentially.
And I think that's it. It's the renters' rights bill. The landlords, I think, anyway, has been quite a scary prospect to think about. And the big fear, of course, is I won't be able to get my tenant out. But the other way to look at it, and putting a more positive spin on it, is that as a landlord, surely your number one priority should be occupancy and tenant quality and rent. And if your plan is to keep the property rented, then ultimately the renters' rights bill should help enable that, and it should help give you long-term occupancy. The rent will go up, so the rents will be healthy, and you can almost have your pick of tenant at the moment. Then most of the time you'll see a couple of tenants for each property, providing it's been listed at the right price and it's in good condition. But if you're offering a really good product to the market, you can be very selective with the tenant and really pick and choose the best one that fits your property.
And obviously, with one of the changes with price point as well.
So historically, it's been quite frustrating for renters getting in a property because of the way in which the whole bidding process works. Landlords would accept over offer payments for places. That's changed now under the Renters' Rights Bill. Is that right?
It will be, yeah. It will be. I remember scenarios where we would have a property, we'd list it, we'd have 50 inquiries, 20 viewings, 10 offers, and the bids would be going for 20-25% more than the asking price. And it was crazy. It was when demand just completely outstripped supply. One of the measures is going to be that landlords cannot ask for more than the stated rent at advertising. I think that it will be interesting to see how that works in practice.
Yeah, potentially put rents up as well.
But that's what I would assume if I were a landlord, rather than pricing to entice and getting a load of people through and saying, right, put your best foot forward, I would be adding 20% onto my asking price, and then we'll work it backwards.
Just take offers.
Yeah, and surely that's what agents are going to advise as well. They're going to say, look, in this market, historically, it would go 20% over, so put it 20% over, right?
Yes and no, because obviously, right now, I wouldn't advise that because the market's quite tough in rental in the rents for the tenants.
Tough in what respect?
There's not a lot of tenants looking.
Okay.
I think it's seasonal. Seasonal changes are one thing. Obviously, we're pretty close to Christmas now. There's always a bit of a tail off at this time of year.
After Christmas, we'll go busy.
But I do think that we saw a massive boom in 22, 23 of tenant demand. And that was when I think a lot of would-be buyers put their search on hold. They rented for another year before making that plunge and making the purchase. So that kind of pent-up demand, or whatever you want to call it, I don't think we've got anymore. We had massive demand in those couple of years, exactly. And that's not there anymore. And therefore, I think we're seeing a bit of a correction in the rental prices anyway.
Yeah, and I think we've noticed that with the properties that have been relet over the last 6 to 8 months, perhaps not even achieving what the last tenant was paying. So right now, if tenant's going to leave, it's one. They either need a bigger property or something, but if they can find the same property cheaper, they'll probably leave.
Yeah.
So landlords got to be very, very careful on that of keeping tenants. It could even go to the point where a tenant asks for a rent reduction. If properties on the market are cheaper, they might even ask for a rent reduction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got to justify putting your rent.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be tribunals that you can go to
stop your rent going up.
Yeah.
Surely they're going to get full.
Pretty quickly, I would imagine.
And you can't backdate it. So if they can put the rent up, we think, I don't think that's fair, you can put that forward, go against it, and it'll go to a tribunal. That could take months because there will be every tenant. I'm surely every tenant.
Why would someone not contest it? Unless they work well. I mean, I guess there are some reasons. You might not fall out with your landlord.
But you might get 6 months of not. your rent not going up.
Just because you'd be on a waiting list, just because you'd be waiting.
And the landlord can't backdate those 6 months. So you could get there and not even go up, or it might go up.
It's like appealing a parking ticket. It stays at the lower rate until they tell you no.
Yeah, so it's
buys you a bit of time.
There are so many little things which we just add tweaks and changes. And same again, a tenant can just do that. Mm-hmm. Into AI,
just clogs up the system and just makes everything take a bit longer.
Yeah. So it's interesting times in the rental market, good and bad. And everything just needs to settle, doesn't it? You always get these peaks and troughs.
Yeah,
I think what we're seeing at the moment, and what we're seeing now and what we're coming into, I just think is more of a normal rental market. It's not a market where you've got massive demand outstripping supply. It's just a normal market. And I think one of the things to be aware of is if you, as a landlord, entered the market 2 or 3 years ago, and that was your first time renting your property, your expectations and your perception of the rental market are completely unrealistic. You benefited massively 2 or 3 years ago, probably from an overinflated rent and a bidding war that probably took place, and that just isn't happening in the market now, and I don't and it certainly won't be happening in the next couple of years.